draw it out. So they're watching you and watching what you're drawing. That's how the one-page plan came about. Now, I'll also tell you that the one-page plan is very effective. Okay? So, it doesn't matter. If that's not possible, just give me the sheet. I'll just do it on there. That's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, just bring. And I'm going to go through the steps which I follow every time I do the plan. Okay? The first thing I think is you've got to get to know the person that you're sitting across. Alright? So break the ice a little bit, find out a little bit more about them, what they've been doing, where they're working, how many children they have, what they do, etc., etc., etc. Don't just dive into the plan straight away. Second thing is, I think you also have to ask them some leading questions. Have you ever thought of going into business for yourself? Stop and wait for the reply. Alright? And whatever they say, yes, I have, say why. If they say, no, I've never thought of business, ask them again why. Now, all those are feeding points, are information for you to actually use a little later during the presentation. Okay? So get to know them, break the ice. Alright? And I always tell them, you know what? I'm just going to run through this idea with you very quickly, and I want you at the end of the presentation to tell me which part of it interested you. And I'm going to leave you with some materials to go through. Would that be okay with you? Alright? Of course, they're all going to say yes. No one has said no yet. Alright, but who knows, there may be a cuckoo out there who will say yes. Okay? That would make a great story. Okay, so straight away, I go into, well, never mind. I think I still prefer this. Doesn't matter if this is there. It won't bother me. Alright? First of all, of course, I talk about the theory put forward by Robert Kiyosaki. Alright? Talk about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, ask, have you heard it, have you read his books? Why? They say yes. I always ask them, why did you read his books? Which book have you read? What did you get out of it? What information do you think that you got out of it that helped you? Alright? I just want them to engage in the presentation. Alright? Now, then after I've got those questions, then of course I talk about active income versus passive income. Alright? You don't have to go into a lot of detail here. Okay? You just say, on this side, he puts people into two quadrants, the employed and the self-employed. These are people who earn active income. Basically, people here, most of them don't have the time. Some of them could have the money. Alright? And what Robert Kiyosaki found, you know that anyway, that 90% of the world's population are here, they control 10% of the wealth. Now, on this side of the quadrant, there are people who are business owners, they've got a business with a system, and the other quadrant are investors. On this side of the quadrant, people have time and money, and then I do the reverse. 10% of the world's population are here, they control 90% of the wealth. I don't go through a lot of information here. Seriously, I don't. Okay? And then I ask them, alright? Now, then I say one thing. I say, you know what? What Robert Kiyosaki said in his books, which I really relate to, is this. For anyone, why is it that people are earning passive income versus active income? What is it that they know that we don't know? And he says the key point there is just education. Alright? People have just learned to earn passive income. Alright? Now, and in our business, what we do to help people become successful in the business owner quadrant is we provide, and I write it down, education and skills. Okay? Right? And then, of course, the next question I always ask is, if you had time and money, what would you do? And I write down 4 key things that they tell me. What would you do if you had time and money? And then they'll tell me travel, debts, stay at home, whatever it is. And make a mental note of it. That means you have to remember it. Okay? Because what I do after this, I flip over the page. Right? So this is not on the front page. I now turn this page over. So I'm going to rub this off. You don't have to do it exactly the way I'm doing it, by the way. But, you know, it's up to you. Okay? And then I say, now what I'm going to do is just run through some figures with you. And I start. Okay? Our business is based on normal movement of products and services. Okay? We have a manufacturer, we have got a wholesaler, we've got a retailer, and then we've got the end consumer. Is that correct? Yes. If something is worth 40 cents at the manufacturer, by the time it gets to the end consumer, it's 1 ringgit. Would you agree with that? Yes. Now the first thing that we do is we connect the consumer directly to the manufacturer. Can you tell me what is the first advantage? I make them say it. I make them say it. I say, what is your first advantage? What do you think is your first advantage? Then many of them will say, you get savings. And I say, you're absolutely right. Whatever they say, correct. Okay? Alright? And I also include, yeah, and of course, that means you get discounts. Right? Yes. However, my focus here today is not just to talk about discounts. My focus here today is to really talk to you about earning passive income using this connection. Because we spoke about passive income earlier. Okay? Now, how am I going to earn passive income? If I only connect one person, I can't earn passive income. Right? But if I could connect large organizations of people to the manufacturer, then I can earn passive income. Okay? So, but how do I create those organizations? Not easy, because you're dealing with people, right? You say yes. Well, there are two ways. One is by trial and error. Could work, you're not sure, you could waste a lot of time, you could waste a lot of effort, you could waste a lot of energy with no guarantees. Or you could follow a system. And that's what I'm here to share with you today. And in our system, what we do is we develop organizations of people or pipelines. If you created one organization and linked it to the manufacturer, you'll make $3,000 to $4,000 every month. If you linked 3, you're making $16,000 every month. And if you linked 6, then you're making 28 to 30,000 ringgit every month. Okay? It goes on and on, but I'm going to stop here. Now tell me, of these 3 levels, which one interests you the most? Which would help give you that time, that freedom, and most people will go for this. I say the highest, of course. I say, of course. Now if they say this, I say, of course. Whatever they say, it's right. Okay? Say, great. Now what I'm going to talk about is your partners. Who are your partners? The first partner is the manufacturer. Alright, and basically what they do is they take care of the administrative running of the business, they do the warehousing, they do the research, they do the R&D, etc., etc. And we leverage on other people's money. Not a single cent comes out of our pockets to set up the manufacturing. Okay? I do not write the name here yet. I wait. Okay? Next, the second partner is related to the system. This couple, called Jim and Nancy Donnan, worked this business by trial and error, and then worked out a formula that works, right? And he called his system the Network 21 system. And here we leverage on other people's experience. Okay? Your next partner is your team. You are not alone. You will have a team of people who will be working with you and helping you every step of the way. And here, we leverage on other people's time. And you are our final partner. Okay? And our manufacturer is the Amway Corporation. Have you heard of the Amway Corporation? Oh yes, I've heard about it. Great company. But what I'm here or to emphasize on is actually the Network 21 system. Because I want to talk to you about Jim and Nancy's blueprint. Right? And he called his system or developed it into what we call the 6-point program. Step number 1, he said, the most important step is you must have a reason for wanting to build a business. I often talk about my husband at this point. I say that my husband, when he set up his private practice, he invested this amount of money. So every morning I don't have to wake him up and say, go to work, go to work. He's already jumping and running to go to work because he's got to make the investment pay. Whereas in this business, what you invest, your greatest investment is your reason. You remember you told me earlier, you said that you wanted to travel, you wanted to pay off your debt, and then I write down all the reasons they gave me. Okay, you've got to remember it. Okay? Then, second thing, if that is important to you, step number 2, you make a list. Then you invite them to take a look at the presentation the way I invited you today. Okay? Step number 4, you share the presentation or show them the plan. And I say this, I love this part. You know why? It's predictable. I'm going to get predictable results. When I share the presentation with people, they will join you in one of 3 categories. And I circle here, category 1, they will be a customer. These are people who say, you know what, I'm really well settled, I've got assets, I'm fine, but I don't mind buying the products. Okay? Second group of people are people who will join you, and I circle here those who will join you to get the discounts. They become members, and here it is 90 ringgit. Write down the amount there. You enjoy 25% discount on great products, all right, savings, free delivery, etc., etc., etc. Okay? And the final category of people are those who say, circle again, I want to learn to earn passive income. And they then fall into the category called independent business owners. These are people who want to learn the system and want to learn how to build organizations of people. Okay? And for them, we put them into 2 other steps. Shopping program. Switch over your shopping habits. Makes sense? Then you all know how to say that. If you own a supermarket, you buy from your own supermarket. Alright? And finally, my favorite of all, the continuing education program. Do you remember I mentioned to you earlier? What did Robert Kiyosaki say? For people who want to be successful in the B quadrant, they need education. It needs a change in thinking. And this is where we provide that change in thinking of education, which comes in the form of CDs, of books, and functions. Okay? Then I talk a little bit more about functions, talk about the 3 functions here. Weekly preview, you need to come and see a lot more detail than what I've shown you here today. This is literally the tip of the iceberg. Alright, come and meet the leaders, come and meet people just like you who saw the presentation the way you're seeing it today, and went there to have a bigger perspective, to get more information. Okay? So that is the business preview. Talk about the business building seminar. The next function is going to be on the 24th of August. Have the tickets in your hand at that point. Open it out and show it to them at that point. Okay? This function is going to be from 3 to 6. It's a Saturday afternoon. Great couple, built a dynamic business. Local Malaysians who've done it. You need to come and see how Malaysians are building it. Alright? So you promote the speakers there. And then you need to have this form on you. And the largest of our functions is the Weekend Leadership Seminar. We're getting international speakers coming in. You get a local perspective here. You get the international perspective at the weekend seminar. Alright? Okay? Now, generally, I stop my presentation here. You know, and I ask them a leading question. Which part of it interested you in my entire presentation? And sometimes they're quick in their response. The system or the money. But if they are frowning and they're not quite sure, ask them. Is it the time? Is it the money? Is it the system? So you're helping them. right? Make them say something positive about the business, about what they've seen, okay? And then of course my sequence is check with your team. It could be a different sequence, but generally at this point I ask them, are you familiar with the Amway products? Yes, no, maybe, could be. Oh, what's that? That's when I take out the demo kit. All of them should have a demo kit and start showing them the product demos. After I've done the product demos, I take out the catalogs. They are wowed by that whole thing. From their initial product demo to looking at the catalogs, they are wowed by it. Alright? And then after they finish, you can close as per your team has advised you. I'm not going to go into that. Okay? So, that is the presentation. So what I want to do now is talk about how to move the tickets. Okay, so, right. Okay, they all are videotaping now. Good Lord. Okay.
Want to snap a picture?
This is all a bit messy, but anyway, okay. So can I go on to part 2? This you don't have videotape. If you all switch off your videotapes and cameras. Okay, now, what I have found as I've been building the business is this, that when it comes to moving tickets, alright, people tend to give it a little too easy. Alright, what do I mean by that? Like say now, if I'm trying to sell a ticket to Azhar, and I say, look, Azhar, can I give you a ticket for that function on the 24th? And they say, oh, I've got something on that day. Oh, okay. That's what I mean, alright? You're not strong enough. Now, and I think for you to understand why it's important to get them into a function, you've got to understand how important the functions are. Because no one is going to understand this business until they come to a series of functions. No one. Alright, no matter how brilliant they are, looking at this presentation, they're not going to say, exactly what I was waiting for, I understand everything, tell me what I need. No one has done that. Alright, there's always resistance. Okay, and the only way that you can help them, you've got to remember that by bringing them to a function, you're helping them make a decision. You're helping them get a bigger perspective. Alright, okay? Do you know the early days, Kamal and Jasmine persuaded us not to come to a function locally, but to go to a function internationally. Now, how much do you think it would have taken them to persuade us to do that? Here, you're just asking them to come to an afternoon function in PJ. Now, what's so difficult about that? So, don't buy the excuses. Now, what I say about don't buy the excuses is just a couple of, stories, all right? One, there was this lady a couple of years ago trying to promote the function, and she painted a really pathetic picture of herself. How she can't afford anything, how she's counting her pennies, she cannot afford this, can cut down, all that, and I actually bought it. I thought, gosh, it's perfect for the weekend seminar, no? I really felt sad. I said, oh yeah, okay. Look, what, I'm trying to help you make the money through the business. That didn't work, so that was it. A week later, I see her in town somewhere, and she's excitedly showing me these 2 airline tickets. She's going on holiday with her child. I thought, wow, you solved your problem in 1 week. I want to know how you did that. Her financial goals just changed in 1 week. So what I'm trying to say is, don't buy excuses. Then there was another person who said, I'm so bad, I can't go for that weekend seminar. You know why? Already planned my Langkawi trip with my whole family. We're going. We cannot come, we cannot change it. Valid reason. Alright? Now, when I went back to see her 2 weeks later, I said, how was your trip to Langkawi? Oh, we didn't go. I said, what? I said, why? Because my daughter was doing a performance in her school in kindergarten. So we completely changed our minds about going to Langkawi and decided to go to the kindergarten presentation. Now, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? When there is a greater need, people will change their minds. They can change things. Alright? So, what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to ask any one of you, it doesn't matter who, to just stand up and perhaps tell me one reason. I'm trying to sell you a ticket. You give me an excuse why you can't go. And let me see whether I can handle it. If I can't, I'm going to fall on the leaders, especially Sazni, to help me out of the situation. We will try. We'll say yes. Okay, anyone who's not, you're supposed to be on my side. What is that loud sound coming? God. Are you putting up your hand?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
I don't like to go to function because I don't like to be brainwashed.
Oh, you don't like to be brainwashed. Okay, that's a new one. Sorry, your name again, sorry. Halim. Okay. Halim, what do you mean by that? So what do you mean? I don't understand when you say you don't like being brainwashed. What do you mean by that?
Because always people that function, they have their agenda, they want to sell something, they want to push something, and I don't like to be sell, to be pushed, that thing.
Okay, I understand where you're coming from. Have you been to such functions like that, Halim? So many times. Gosh, you know what? I do understand where you're coming from. I think had I been you, had I been to functions like that, I'd feel exactly the same way. Seriously, I would. I wouldn't go to any more functions. I absolutely agree with you. But Halim, that's why I want you to come to our function, right? You remember you were telling me earlier that you said that you saw freedom, you saw that you could get out of debt. If this function can help you to do that, do you think it's worth your while just coming once? Okay, so would you like 1 or 2 tickets? Would you like 1 or 2 tickets? 3. Well, do you think you could bring a friend along with you, Halim? Because it's great to take a friend along and not go alone. Can I give you 2 tickets? Would that be okay with you? I'm sure you could find someone.
Let me check first. I always come to that. Let me check first. Let me find out for myself first and then see how then, and maybe I can save one.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point, but let me just say one thing. It's always worth it if you can trust my judgment and my experience in the business. When you're sitting there, you'll always regret that you came alone. Alright, it's only $35. I'm sure you could find a friend, a spouse, a cousin, someone in your family who will actually benefit from that talk as well. Can I give you 2 tickets? And I tear it at this point, and I give 2. What if I can't get anybody to come along with me? Okay, well, I'm sure you can. Look, I'm sure you've got friends, you've got family, someone you can drag. You can even bring teenagers into that meeting. Alright, even people who are 15 years, 16 years, it's so beneficial because they're going to learn some success principles. I'm sure you could find someone like that. Okay, he's buying 2 tickets with me. Why are you helping him? That's a good point that you did that. Shall I tell you why? Sometimes I'm sitting with an IBO who's actually helping him. They're actually saying, oh yeah, no, it's okay, yeah, one is enough. And here I'm saying 2. Yeah, don't do that. Good point there. Yes.
What if you go with assuring a pen to someone, you bring a friend along, and the one you're showing to is positive, your friend is negative, and you push the ticket, the other one is willing to take, and the friend says, no, we'll think about it.
Okay, generally, I try to avoid situations like that. If I've got a one-on-one appointment with somebody, and they say, can I bring a friend? I say no.
No, what is that?
I say don't. And I'll tell you why I say don't.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Sometimes you are there and they just bring, and
Yes.
doesn't to leave.
Yes, okay, alright. Well, sorry?
I said you're supposed to meet 1.
Yes.
End up 2 there.
2 people there, okay. That you are at a disadvantage. I'll tell you that. And it's very difficult to recover and to be at an advantage. It is. Alright? You can ignore that person, but that friend won't. They'll be looking at that person to see what they're saying, what they're doing, because anyway, everybody's only interested in other people's opinions, right? So you are at a disadvantage there. The only thing I would do there is lend them information and book a startup one-on-one, and then try and close the ticket there. I would carry on that way. Yeah?
No, unless they say they bring their spouse.
Meaning?
If let's say you make an appointment with me,
Of course you wanted husband and wife, yes. In fact, if they are married, you should ask to see both husband and wife. Yes. Yes. Yes.
When if someone says they got a one lifetime event going on, let's say they have a wedding, and
Well, in situations like that, you can't tell them miss your wedding and come. Yeah, I'm not going to use this because it's like jarring everyone to submission. Everyone's going to get 2 tickets for the evening. Others are going to have burst eardrums, yes. No, of course, there are times like that. You know what I do then? What time is the wedding? What time is it? All right? And then they'll say, what time?
Church in the morning, then evening is dinner.
That's fantastic. Because our function is actually between 3 and 6.
Or by between, after the church, sure, they'll all go to the house for gathering and lunch together. And then you have to help the bride and all that.
Well, is there any way? No, that's fine. That's fine. Well, is there any way that you could even get away even for 1 hour? Because again, your name, sorry? I'm really Jamie. Sorry? Janie. Janie, you told me earlier, all right, that you're really excited about what you just see. All right, you can see this finally as a way in which you can get your feeling. Do you think it's worth finding that 1 hour on that day to come and listen to a couple would help you to do that? Your answer?
Let me talk to my relatives.
Talk to?
I talk to my relatives to see whether they can do without me for 1 hour.
Well, you know what, Jamie? If you talk to them, you know, relatives being what they are, they're going to say, how can you go? You have to be here. Because they've not seen this presentation you have. Alright, okay? Does that make sense? Right? I would suggest you get 1 ticket, do yourself a favor, even that 1 hour will be beneficial to you. Can I give you 1 or 2 tickets? Your answer, Jamie? 1. Don't give up. Don't be strong about it. There's nothing wrong with being strong. Everyone here was persuaded by a strong upline to come for their first meeting. It wasn't like, oh, you don't want, oh, never mind. Okay, then. Okay, glad. No. You've got to push for it. You've got to push for it. Yes.
Provided you collect the money from them.
Yes, of course.
Because if those who have their they take money, they're not doing that.
Yeah, when I talk about selling tickets, I actually mean collecting the money. And this is another tip I use. I say, that'll be $35. I take out my wallet and open it. So I'm waiting for them. I'll show you what I do. I'll show it to you, then you'll know. Because I've done it so many times. So I'll say that, that's it. And then I take out this wallet, it's my business wallet, and unzip it. And then I'm waiting. Alright, so do that. They'll get the hint. Others they pretend, you know, they don't understand that they've got to pay. Yes.
I've had this situation. The person said my mother is diagnosed with cancer and is in the hospital, so I can't come.
Okay, or I mean something like that. You can't say like so what and all that. No. I think you've got to be compassionate about that. You've got to be definitely compassionate about that. But I think I would go back to their dream. See, the mother is diagnosed with cancer, is in hospital, but they're still going to work. All right, they're still doing other things, normal things. All right, so I think in situations like that, you have to be sensitive. Yeah, don't be insensitive. I'm not saying that. Go back to their dream. You know, go back to saying, you know what, Fad? I'm really sorry to hear that. You know, I really am. You know, but you know, you were telling me that you wanted more time with your mom. You wanted more time for whatever it is, you know. And if this couple can show you that and show you how to do that, do you think it's worth your while coming for that function? Even if it's 1 hour, even if it's 2 hours, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Huh? 1 or 2 tickets?
3.
3.
For the mother.
And the doctor. And the doctor, huh? And the doctor, lah.
And the doctor.
Okay, alright. Anything else? But that's at least, yes.
What if I'm on a split during that weekend?
Okay, well, I always go back to that lady who cancelled her flight. Langkawi. That thought is always in my mind. And I say, sorry, your name?
Logan.
Logan. Logan, is that a trip that you have to be at? Or is there any way that you can change the dates? Be bold enough to ask that question. That's what I'm trying to say, because you've got to get them thinking, and then they too will realize, hey, this one sounds really important. They're going to suggest to me that I even do that. Okay? Do you think, Logan, you could change that trip? Because this is on a Saturday. Is there any way that you could take out a flight in the night and attend your meeting?
I don't know, because I'm going in a group of business partners.
Well,
I would like to change, but I can't.
Okay, but would you at least make an attempt to do that?
I'll try.
Yes, and again, I would go back to the dreamer. I always go back to that. All right, but I put the idea into his head to at least try and change it. It's that important, and I even would say that it's that important that you're there, Logan. I'm sure the business trip is important, but if that's not giving you passive income, and it's passive income that you want, then this is the function you need to be in. Does that sort of make sense? I don't need to push. That's what Mitsara says. Sorry, I don't need to push, but you've not seen what I've seen. And I need you to see that. Okay? So does that make sense? Yeah.
You have this function every month, you. Can I do the next one?
You know what? Because we've all faced these horrible questions, Yes. I said yes, there is a function on next month as well. The next one is going to be the Weekend Leadership Seminar. That's from the 6th to the 8th of September. That's 210 ringgit. Would you like 1 or 2 tickets? Or if it's a BBS next month, then I say this. Yes, there is another function next month, but I'll tell you why, Vijay, I want you to come to this function. You've just seen the presentation. Things are still fresh in your mind. Therefore, the information that you get at this function will make more sense to you. Does that make sense? Okay, don't back off, right? Keep going.
Could I get the question? I will identify the speakers that are speaking.
Yes.
Saying that, yeah, there is another one.
Yes.
You know why this one, and then identify
Yes,
the speakers.
correct.
You will connect with this one especially.
Yes, that's right. Absolutely, Ethel. We do that too. Talk about Peter and Celine and why you think that they would actually be the right people for them to listen to. They were just like you, they didn't want to come to a function, went to a function and then saw a much bigger picture. Yeah?
I'm interested, but I don't have enough money right now.
Okay, alright. 35 ringgit?
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm thinking, why did I show you the business? Never mind. I'll say, okay, but are you serious about developing the business and wanting to know how to make money? Are you? Now, before I answer that question, okay, now if I were to tell you, and this is from Amgad, if I were to tell you right now that, he took out his keys now, I don't take out my keys, that you could buy, what is your favorite car? What's the name of your favorite car? What is your dream car? Sorry? Okay, if I were to tell you right now that you could buy this brand new BMW 3rd Series for just 10,000 ringgit, would you find it?
Yeah, that's true, but really I don't have it.
But would you be able to find it?
Yeah, probably.
Probably, right? So, if this business can give you what you wanted, again going back to the dream, do you think you could come up with 35 ringgit? Is there someone or somewhere you could work part-time? Usually people in the Gen Ys would say this. Not
Students.
older.
Students.
Usually students, alright? That's when you can make suggestions. Because you've got to be a problem solver. Alright, if they say, I don't have the money, it's a Gen Y, I'm sure not you, but Gen Ys, then you suggest, could you take up a part-time job? Alright, could you run some errands? Is there any way that you could make 50 ringgit? Or let me show you how to make 35 ringgit. And then ask them who they can have as their customers for the Amway products. That's the best way, isn't it? How much do you make when you sell one XX? 125, 156 is customer price. How much is that? 20 something, 2 XX, ticket is free. Help them to do that. Be a problem solver, look for solutions, don't buy excuses. Alright, okay? So I think, have I gone beyond time? Okay, right, so that's the message today. Don't buy excuses. See you at the function.